Ovo je Jazeera Svijeta, ja sam Azra Hadžić. Iz emisije Izdvajamo. Za koje kompanije je specijalna izvjestiteljica UN-a utvrdila da ostvaruju profit od izraelskih vojnih akcija u Gazi i na okupiranoj zapadnoj obali. O putovanju brodom Medlin, koji je u junu pokušao probiti blokadu Gaze, pritvaranju i psihičkom pritisku, govori novinar Jazeere Mubasher. Od prošlog vikenda prvi put u 100 godina Parižani i turisti osvježenje mogu potražiti u rijeci Seni. Specijalna izvjestiteljica UN-a za okupirane palestinske teritorije, Francesca Albanese, ponavlja poziv državama da obustave trgovinu sa Izraelom i ulaganja u tu zemlju. Posljednji apel uslijedio je nakon objave njenog izvještaja prošle sedmice u kojem je Gazu opisala kao laboratorij za testiranje izraelskog oružja. Također, identificirala je kompanije koje ostvaruju profit od izraelskih vojnih akcija u Gazi i na okupiranoj zapadnoj obali, kršeći međunarodno pravo. Među njima su i pojedine velike tehnološke kompanije koje su optužene da pomažu Izraelu u nadzoru, kontroli mase, urbanom ratovanju, prepoznavanju lica i ciljanom ubijanju. Turistički giganti, uključujući Booking i Airbnb, optuženi su za oglašavanje i iznajmljivanja nekretnina i hotelskih soba u ilegalnim izraelskim naseljima na okupiranoj palestinskoj zemlji. Uz to, velike građevinske kompanije umješane su u višedesetljetnu opskrbu Izraela opremom koja se koristi za rušenje palestinskih domova i infrastrukture, te izgradnju ilegalnih izraelskih naselja na okupiranoj zapadnoj obali. Banke i osiguravajuća društva optuženi su za podržavanje izraelskih vojnih operacija vrijednih milijarde dolara, dok je British Petroleum dobio licence za istraživanje pomorskih teritorija koje pripadaju Palestini.
The companies that have been named in the report have all been put on notice. I've engaged with them, bringing to their attention the facts that I found very problematic and the norms that I found their conduct to be in breach of. And I would say out of the total number, almost half of them have engaged with me. A small number in good faith, meaning without pushing back or punching back, saying that I had got everything completely wrong. But those who have engaged, I think, have done so bona fide, but not to the point of understanding the gravity and the legal framework I was bringing to their attention. So eventually the report came out the way it was planned during the investigation. No, so I didn't drop any of the names of companies that I've investigated. Just to be clear, the report doesn't say that all companies are complicit with genocide.
Sure.
A number of them, yes, certainly those who have supported, for example, the military action and which with knowledge, intent and purpose have allowed Israel to turn its army against, which was already testing its weapons and surveillance techniques against the Palestinian population. It has been doing so for decades. It has turned it against the population of Gaza, also after customizing it and making it more lethal and dangerous. So these companies should have pulled out. But there is a web of companies.
Indeed.
Who has enabled the economy of the occupation and has stayed engaged in this economy even when Israel had been put on notice that it was plausibly committing the crime of genocide, and it was put on notice that it had to withdraw the occupation and the settlement enterprise and the exploitation of natural resources, and two of its leaders were accused of committing war crimes and crimes against humanity, including starvation. I did realize throughout 2024 that there were a number of actors without whom Israel would have not been able to commit the acts of genocide it has committed. And this is why I started investigating. I had a call for submissions, which was met by an unprecedented response. I received 200 submissions that led to the setup of a database of 1,000 entities, over which I could only investigate a small number. But I can tell you what is the most precious legacy of my investigation is that it explains a system which could have been seen, again, the economy of the occupation made of entities profiteering from the displacement and replacement of the Palestinians and also enabling it, lending funds, lending legitimacy. But then all these has turned into profits. I think that the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange has increased its value of about 170%, amassing $220 billion since October 2023, 70 billion of which in the last month. You see it. So there is, while the Palestinians are being erased and their life is being destroyed, some, I wouldn't even say Israelis, some are also profiting out of the Israeli disgrace, because many sectors of the Israeli economy are nosediving, and still there are people who are becoming rich out of this crime. The legal framework is strong enough, despite what companies and some states seem to say. The legal framework is strong enough to hold them accountable. Because again, the occupation is so unlawful and the red lines have been crossed across the border. But these companies should have pulled out from their engagement with Israel, as it was committing such egregious violations of international law, the violation of the right of self-determination of the Palestinians, perpetual occupation, annexation. All the more at the time it has pulverized Gaza. So not only they have not disengaged, they have continued to maintain, to support, to lend the means, legitimacy, credibility, and sometimes profiting themselves from this endeavor. Therefore, they must be held accountable. Despite what some member states says, this report is not a threat to the global economy. I'm not advocating for an end of the market. I'm just saying that the market must follow some rules. And when state conduct turns into killing and slaughtering, maiming, starving adults and children alike, including babies, we have crossed that red line. So now, yes, there is, if Palestine was a crime scene, it would have, I've said to the Human Rights Council, the fingerprints of all of us. In the sense, all of us are somewhat involved in this. Doesn't mean that all of us are complicit, but we have power. We have power to influence the companies, both as users and as shareholders. A number of us are shareholders. So the question, or as workers in these companies. So for example, think of Airbnb and Booking.com. All of us are getting ready to prepare our summers, or have already organized our summers by using these companies. By doing that without putting pressure on Booking.com and Airbnb to stop advertising properties on stolen land, on land that settlers and the state of Israel have stolen from the Palestinians, we continue to normalize the occupation through a click, by a click. So I'm saying people have the power to disengage themselves. For example, I've not used Airbnb in the past 1 year and a half. Now I'm going to close my account and informing the company that I will not reactivate it until they disengage themselves from the occupation. I think that this report allows them to see, on the one hand, the depressing picture we have in front of us, but also to understand how we are all connected. And yes, this can be a defining moment in our history, because businesses, corporations have always been driver and enabler of dispossession. Look at what has happened to indigenous people throughout 500 years of colonization. And this is in some respect what is happening to the Palestinians. And businesses have always escaped responsibility, accountability, sorry. But there are two moments that have changed this, like the post-Holocaust industrialist trials and post-apartheid South Africa have prompted greater accountability for businesses. And this can be yet another moment. By the way, I want to remind the fact that in the ICTY, so in the work of the International Criminal Tribunal for former Yugoslavia, businesses have also been held accountable for supporting acts of genocides and other crimes. So this is why I think that now we need to use this opportunity to make the system better. Otherwise, it will continue to be much worse and for all of us.
1. juna iz luke na Siciliji isplovio je brod Medlin, nazvan po prvoj i jedinoj ribarici u Gazi. Prevozio je aktiviste za ljudska prava koji su protestirali protiv izraelske blokade i humanitarnu pomoć za stanovnike pojasa. Omer Fayyad, novinar Jazeere Mubasher, bio je jedan od učesnika te misije. U nastavku nam prepričava iskustvo putovanja i trenutak kad su ih izraelske snage presrele, te zaplijenile brod. Pojašnjava kakvom su pritisku bili izloženi aktivisti dok su bili u izraelskom pritvoru.
One of the messages for Medlin is to give the awareness.
وسيصل إلى غزة لكسر الصمت وكسر الحصار المفروض على قطاع غزة.
Even if we didn't reach Gaza, we tried. And the people should know that there is a way to try to break the siege. I am Omar Fayyad, Jazeera Mubasher presenter. And between us, the Medlin aid ship sent a clear message. Despite global silence, the struggle to end Israeli crimes continues. We were like 12 people in the boat.
الرحلة ستكون طويلة فيها الكثير من المخاطر. سنحاول أن نكون في بث مباشر من حين لآخر معكم.
A lot of people, they came to the port Catania. We brought some food, some candies, some chocolates. Someone bring guitar, Tiago. Every day in the morning he was singing using that guitar. So every morning Tiago gathered with people and give everyone a task to do, even cooking. They were cooking like small meals with very simple ingredients. They told me, we are going to people starving without any kind of aid. So we have to feel the spirit and we have to feel them. One of the things they were thinking all the time about is the children in Gaza. They brought small messages from children all over the world and they put it inside a bottle and they throw this bottle. They said that if we will not reach Gaza, we hope that this bottle reach Gaza, and maybe children in Gaza, they saw these messages and they know that the world is concerned about them. That was the only time they stopped the engine until the Israelis arrest the boat.
The IOF is here right now. Please sound the alarm.
I start to walk around and start to film. Something moved very fast near to the boat. We felt a drone. It came very low to our heads level.
We're being intercepted right now.
The boats surrounded us, 4 military boats, very heavy weapons.
أخبرونا بأن نرفع أيدينا في هذه اللحظات.
The small boats with 10 to 20 soldiers. One of them, he came and said, we will take you to Isdud, give you to diplomats from your countries to take you back to your countries. So it was a huge number to just like arrest 12 people with a small boat. All of them, they are activists, journalists, peaceful 12 people, nothing more, nothing needed, all of that. When we arrived to Isdud, they bring a lot of soldiers with cameras. They try to give us water and food, just taking photos for us. They asked me, where is the streaming device and where's the camera? I told them, no, I don't have. I had only a mobile. They told me, where is it? I told them it's on the sea now, speaking with fishes. And at that time, they got mad, by the way. They tried to abuse us psychologically. They put me and Greta in a room. She was exhausted and she was trying to sleep. Every time they saw her like this, they came and, Greta, don't sleep, it's not allowed. They played some songs for kids to insult her because she is the youngest one from the group. Then they took me to investigate, and that was not legally because they have to bring my lawyer, but they give us the papers at that moment. It gives us 100 years ban from entering Israel again. I signed the paper, and that was the key to lift this land. The Western media start to give some attention to the boat. When the mobilization start to grow up more and more and more, not only in France, even Netherlands. And we can see that people also tried to go through land from Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, and they stopped in Egypt, but they try. And Medellin, it was someone used the key to open the door to people that do something, try to move. It was something like that.
Idemo do Španije koja u sljedeće 3 godine planira legalizirati status gotovo 900.000 nedokumentiranih migranata kako bi proširila kapacitete radne snage. Zemlja se suočava sa starenjem stanovništva i potrebna joj je dodatna podrška za brzo rastuću privredu. Također razmatra se i mogućnost legalnog dolaska većeg broja ljudi.
Postala je sinonim za društvene tenzije i političku polarizaciju, ali u Španiji imigracija je nacrt za privredni rast. U ovoj radionici vizija jednog čovjeka pomogla je nedokumentovanim migrantima da od ulične prodaje dođu do održivog načina života i mogućnosti da doprinose društvu. Ali to zahtijeva više od nade. Potrebno je političko rješenje.
Es una necesidad para el gobierno, es una necesidad también para las personas que ya están aquí muchos años, porque no solo los requisitos de 2 años o 3 años puede permitir una persona para regularizar sus papeles.
U španskoj vladi se nadaju da će odobriti boravišne i radne dozvole za 500.000 nedavno pristiglih migranata. To su teški pregovori s parlamentarnim grupama jer se pojedinci tome čvrsto protive. Ali u španskoj privredi u procvatu radna mjesta treba popuniti, a migrantska udruženja u tome pomažu novopridošlima.
Pues yo pienso que es algo bueno porque al final es algo que nos beneficia a nosotros los inmigrantes y también a ellos porque al final nosotros estaríamos.
There's been a growing realization that for Spain's economy to keep growing, it's going to need people to power it. But like pretty much the rest of Europe, not enough Spanish people are having children to sustain current population levels. And that's created a need for immigration.
Kao i druge zemlje u Evropi, Španija je podijeljena kad je o tome riječ. Više od polovine stanovništva slaže se da je imigracija ključna za rast privrede, posebno u područjima poput građevinarstva i turizma koji trenutno pokreću procvat zemlje.
Pienso que todo aquel que venga aquí a aportar de forma regulada y adaptarse a las costumbres de este país, yo creo que tiene que ser bienvenido, siempre y cuando no quiera importar sus tradiciones, sus costumbres.
Usred vijesti o tarifama i ekonomskom padu, čak i u tradicionalnim silama poput Njemačke, Španija se suprotstavlja evropskom trendu. Ipak, imigracija ostaje sporno pitanje. U Španiji se nadaju da će otvoriti legalne rute za migrante kako bi doprinijeli smanjenju broja trgovaca ljudima koji profitiraju od pada nataliteta u Evropi.
Od 13. aprila do 13. oktobra u japanskom gradu Osaki održava se svjetska izložba Expo 2025. Više od 150 zemalja i međunarodnih organizacija predstavlja se kroz paviljone i projekte, a organizatori procjenjuju da će izložbu posjetiti blizu 28 miliona ljudi. Organizirana je u vrijeme mnogih globalnih kriza s futurističkom porukom nade.
Holding the record as the world's biggest wooden structure, it's called the Giant Ring and is the signature feature at the Osaka World Expo, acting as the thoroughfare for the millions of visitors over the 6 months of this event to come and see the national pavilions, the displays and also the exhibits provided by the participants from more than 150 countries and regions.
And so all the international pavilions are inside this ring. This means that we want everybody in the world to be united at this expo.
The theme of this event is designing a future society for our lives. And as with any World Expo, the vibe is distinctly upbeat and forward-looking. But it comes at a time when the world appears to be precariously poised with multiple conflicts threatening to escalate out of control and overwhelm us. The question for the world right now would seem to be, what is there to be cheery about?
重要なのは私たち一人一人が何ができるかを考える。今世界で起きていることから目を背けずに。
Japan's contributions are particularly futuristic, looking at the impact of artificial intelligence and robotics on all of our lives, with the help of an Android version of one of the country's leading roboticists to help explain it all.
What does the future look like to you? Is it a future of hope, or should we be afraid of the future, afraid of technology to come?
No, we don't need to afraid that. Actually, robots and AI is going to be our solutions. You know, especially in Japan, we're going to have a serious problem of a labor shortage. So AI and the robot will solve our future problems.
With characteristic Japanese hospitality, the organizers are hoping for a brief period at least to create a peaceful, optimistic space where people can come together and to imagine and create the kind of world they would want to live in, offering some respite from the worldly woes just outside the giant ring. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Osaka, Japan.
U Šangaju je otvoren najveći Legoland na svijetu. Izgradnja je koštala $550 miliona, a očekuje se da će privući više od 2 miliona ljudi godišnje. Poznati strani brendovi hrle u Kinu kako bi otvorili svoje tematske parkove. Katrina Ju ima priču iz Pekinga.
Milioni djece širom svijeta uživaju u igri Lego kockicama. Danski proizvođač igračaka otvorio je svoj najveći tematski park Legoland u Šangaju. Odmaralište površine 318.000 kvadratnih metara sadrži kineske znamenitosti u minijaturnom obliku, poput biserne kule, kineskog zida i zabranjenog grada. Zabavni parkovi su unosan posao u Kini. Međunarodne brendove privlači rastuća srednja klasa i relativno neiskorišteno tržište u poređenju sa Zapadom. Disneyland u Šangaju otvoren je 2016. a za 2027. planirani su tematski parkovi Harry Potter i Pepa Prase. Sve je to dio plana transformacije Šangaja u globalnu turističku destinaciju. Upravitelji parkova suočavaju se s raznim izazovima, na primjer pandemija COVID-19, koja je otežala otvaranje tematskog parka Universal Studios u Pekingu 2021.
Universal Studios was the first international theme park to open in northern China. It attracts about 10 million people annually, and many visitors come to the park multiple times a year.
哈利波特那个景区里面 北京会下雪嘛，冬天，然后就打算弄个魔法袍，然后穿着。
Vlada se nada da će ovaj sektor potaknuti potrošnju te ubrzati ekonomski rast zemlje, no analitičari upozoravaju da će biti gubitnika. Naime, zbog rastuće konkurencije neki domaći brendovi mogli bi pasti u drugi plan. Ipak, entuzijastični posjetioci tematskih parkova raduju se usponu industrije u Kini, sretni što će biti dio te priče.
Od prošlog vikenda prvi put u više od 100 godina ponovno se može plivati u Seni. Na 3 lokacije duž rijeke Parižani i turisti se mogu osvježiti tokom ljetnih mjeseci. Riječ je o dijelu projekta nasljeđa Olimpijskih igara 2024. U okviru kojeg je više od $1 milijardu uloženo u čišćenje rijeke kako bi bila sigurna za takmičare. Detaljnije Nataša Butler.
Skok u rijeku. Parižani uživaju u plivanju u rijeci Seni, koje je dozvoljeno nakon više od 1 vijeka. Entuzijazam je bio na nivou, na jednoj od 3 zvanične lokacije za plivanje, sada otvorene za javnost.
I am so proud of Paris because it's really fighting hard to give a little bit more space, area, a little bit of more nature to the citizens who live here.
Ecstatic, that's the first word in my mind. And I feel like I'm 12 years old.
Sve lokacije su pod nadzorom. Kapacitet je ograničen na nekoliko stotina plivača, a upotreba plutajućih pomagala je obavezna.
For decades, swimming in the River Seine was banned because of dangerous levels of pollution. But a massive clean-up operation has transformed the river.
Projekat vrijedan $1,5 milijarda završen je nakon više od 10 godina i to na vrijeme za prošlogodišnje olimpijske igre u Parizu. Sena je bila centralna tačka igara. Na rijeci je održana ceremonija otvaranja i plivački dio triatlona. Gradonačelnica Pariza obećala je da će Senu učiniti bezbjednom za plivanjem, a na njenom licu jasno se vidi oduševljenje dok posmatra kupače.
Avoir de l'eau propre, c'est possible. C'est possible, voilà. Et c'est vraiment un engagement aussi écologique pour nous. Pour Paris, c'est l'adaptation de la ville aux fortes chaleurs. On en a connu beaucoup cette semaine.
Sena koja vijuga kroz centar Pariza dugo je već simbol francuske prijestolnice, ali sa porastom temperatura uslijed klimatskih promjena u njoj se može zabaviti i rashladiti.
Toliko od ekipe koja je učestvovala u realizaciji Jazeera Svijeta. Sa ovom 619. emisijom se odjavljujemo. Hvala vam na dugogodišnjem povjerenju.